If you guys have a glass cooktop like this and the burners are off, but the cooktop indicator light is always on, stay with me in this video and I'll show you exactly how easy it is to fix this and get your stove running like new. Let's get at it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome of course. And to all my longtime subscribers, welcome back. All right guys, today I'll be working on my glass cooktop stove. If you guys have one of these cooktop stoves, glass cooktops, whatever it is, and you guys have a cooktop indicator light on that tells you whenever your burners are still warm or if they're on, and the light stays on even when you turn them off, this video is going to be for you. I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to fix it, all the steps you're going to need, and all the parts that you're going to need. Now, there are typically two issues that can cause this, and I'm going to go over both of them. That way, no matter which one you have, you should be covered no matter what. All right, as usual guys, I'll leave links in the description, timestamps, so you can jump from section to section. Like I said before, there are typically two problems that can cause this to occur. One of them is on each one of your burners, there's a little module on there that has a built-in switch that senses when the temperature is hot on here. Sometimes those switches stay stuck, and if they are, then you gotta just replace the burner. If that doesn't work and the burners are okay, the next step is the switch. Just like the burners, the switch have an internal switch that closes whenever the burners are turned on. So if this switch is stuck closed, then your burner light is going to stay on. So I'm going to show you guys how to tackle both of those scenarios and get your stove up and running like new. Let's get at it. Before we begin, obviously, the first thing we want to do is we want to pull out our stove away from our wall and basically disconnect the power plug. Once you have your stove away from your wall and the power plug disconnected, you'll be able to have access to the entire stove and you'll be able to get in there and work freely. Put it somewhere where you have space to work around it. That way you're not in a crowded space and you're not trying to fumble over stuff to get things done. All right, once your stove is out, the next thing you're going to do is open the door. And there are two screws that are holding the glass cooktop in place. In my case, you may have more screws, but you'll notice them right away. They're on the underside. Just go ahead, remove these two screws. And once you're done, you'll be able to lift up on the glass cooktop and remove it. All right, once you have your cooktop removed, you can look here, and these are the modules that I was talking about. What you want to look for is all the wires that are connected, usually on the smaller side, they're all the same color. You can see here, here, on the back here, and here. They're all the same color. What you want to be looking for are the ports that are lettered or numbered 2A and 2B. Now, I've checked mine, but sometimes they're labeled up on top here and sometimes it's hard to read. But what you can do is just, like I said, look for the ones that are the same color, that are all connected, and then those should be the ones that are connected to the internal switch. So let's go ahead and test these things. Once you have your meter, you want to go ahead and put the settings to ohms. Mine has a little sound indicator, so it will tell me if there's continuity. And what you want to listen out for, if there is continuity and the connectors are closed, you'll hear a beep. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead, disconnect both of the wires from the switch, and you want to go ahead and test them. Hold your leads to them and listen out for that beep. If there's no beep, go ahead. You can go ahead and put your plugs back on and repeat the step for the other one. If there's no beep, you want to go ahead and put your connectors back on and repeat the process for all your burners. Once you've tested all your burners and you're good, if one of them showed that there was a closed loop and there's continuity, what you want to do is you want to remove that burner. There's a few things you need to do before you remove the burner. One, you want to take a picture of where the connectors are connected on your burner and then go ahead and disconnect them. Once you have them disconnected, there's some retention clips on the side of your burner that you just press in and pull out, and they should come out just like this. Now, there are a couple things you need to take note of. There are numbers all along the outside of this burner here. That gives the indication of where these clips need to go. So once you remove these clips, when you get the new burner, you're going to put them back in the exact same location so that they fit perfectly. Now, what you want to do once you take this off, I don't know if you guys can see it here, but there's an indication here And this will have the model number of the burner that you want to be replaced. Take this model down, go ahead, type it into Google or Amazon or any appliance parts place, and you'll be able to get a replacement for this exact same thing. Once you have it replaced and you have your replacement, you can go ahead, put your clips back on in the exact location, line it up, snap it back into place, and then all you'd have to do next is make the connections back on to the burner like you did when you took them off. Just remember to take a picture of it and that will solve the problem. If that was the case for you and your burners were bad and you were able to replace them, good job. Give me a thumbs up, like this video, share it with your friends, and that'll be it for you. All right, so if you're like me, guys, and your burners were all okay and they all checked out, let's jump to the next part of the video where I'm going to show you guys how to troubleshoot the switches and check if the switches are the problem. Now we can go ahead and take a look at the back of our stove, and you should see a panel located here. We want to go ahead and remove all the screws that are covering the panel. You want to go ahead and remove all the screws. Make sure you save them, you don't lose them. Once you get all these screws removed, you'll have access to the switches. Once you have all the screws removed, you can go ahead and remove this panel that is covering your switches. It might take a little bit of maneuvering here, but you should be able to pull this thing right out. Now you have access to the knobs and the switches that control them. The first thing you want to do is you want to take a look at all of these here and see if there's any indications of any burns or any damages. I can see one in mine right out off the bat, but what I want to do is I want to talk to you about what you want to look for when you're testing all these switches. Because you're going to have, in my case, I have 3 switches here that are single burners, and this one is a double burner, and this one is you're going to test this one a little bit differently. All right, once you located the switches, what I want to do is you want to go ahead and remove the connectors that are connected to here. If you have a pair of needle nose pliers or a pair of pliers, you can just grab a hold of it and they should pull right out. What you want to do is you can remove all of them just so you have access to all of this, and I'll show you. You don't actually need to remove all of them, but I'm just going to show you for demonstration purposes what you need to do. All right, again, we're going to be testing for continuity. You can hear the beep if there is continuity. So what you want to look for on your switch once you have all the terminals removed is you want to look for the L1 terminal and the P terminal. Anything that says P1 and L1. In this case, I know it's hard to read, but here it says L1 and here it says P. So these are the 2 terminals that I'm going to be testing. And again, you just hold your leads on the terminals, and again, there is no continuity, so this switch is good. Once you've tested the switch and you know that the switch is good, you can go ahead and return your terminals, put them back in place, and then move on to the next switch. When you put your terminals on, make sure that they're nice and secure, and then we're going to move on to the next switch. Just like before, we want to go ahead and test the L1 and the P terminals, which are the same. So again, here you can see no continuity, so this switch is also good. All right, I've tested all the single burner switches and they're all good. Now we're going to go ahead and test the double element switch. Now I can tell on here already there's some signs of burns on here, so I suspect that this switch is bad, but I just want to show you guys what you want to be looking for and how it's going to look when you actually test it to see if it's bad. Once again, go ahead, remove the terminals. Put this to the side. Just on the single burners, we were testing for L1 and P1, but on the double burner, what we want to be testing for is S2 and P1. It might be hard to see on here, but there's P1 is here and S2 is here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and touch my leads to them. And there you have it. Again, we have continuity here. So this switch is bad. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and remove the switch, and then I'll show you guys how to remove it and how to replace it. So now that we've located our faulty switch, we know it's here, the one for the double burner. So what you want to do is you want to remove the knob. Now the knob is pulled straight off, so all you got to do is pull on it like this, remove it, set it to side, and you should have 2 screws here. Once you remove these 2 screws, you'll be able to take the switch out. Be careful not to lose the screws, set them somewhere safe. And just like that, the screws that are holding your switch are out. you can go ahead and push it out and remove the switch from the back. All right, once you have the switch removed, you can see it here. If you notice on the front of your switch here, it's probably hard to see, but there is your serial number and your model number of the switch that you need to get replaced. So what you want to do is search it in Amazon, Google, whatever it is, find the replacement switch, order it, and once you have it in, we're ready to replace it. Here you can see I picked up a replacement for mine. It matches exactly. All the prongs, all the stuff on the back are exactly the same. So what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and disconnect the wires, and if any wires are connected to your old switch, disconnect them and put them into your new switch. And just like that, you've got your switch replaced. The next thing you want to do now is you want to go ahead and reconnect all the wires that were connected prior. They should just plug right in. One of the things you want to know before you put this in is there's a word top right here. Make sure that your switch, this top is facing the top of your oven before you put it back in place. If not, your switch is going to be upside down. Now that you have everything connected back to the switch, you can go ahead and insert it in the hole here, and we'll go back from the front and attach it with the screws that were connected initially. All right, with the switch in place, you can go ahead and attach it using the screws that you used to remove it. Once you have the screws in place, you can go ahead and slide your knob right back on. Once you're done with the switch and you've replaced everything, you can go ahead and put the panel back on the back of your oven. Make sure you secure all the screws, tuck the wires away so nothing gets pinched. And then after that, you can go ahead and put the glass cooktop back on, secure it with the 2 screws. After that, you want to go ahead and make sure you plug your stove in, slide it back into place, and you should be done. All right, guys, welcome back. That wasn't too bad. So we went ahead and troubleshooted the stove. In my case, it turned out that the burners were okay. It actually was the switch behind the knob that was damaged. Don't know what caused it, but these things happen. So if you have a case like that and your switch is bad, go ahead and replace it. As you can see, my stove is back on, and the light that was here is now completely gone. Let's go ahead and test it. As you can see, when I turn the burner on, the burner is working, the light is on. When I turn it off, it goes off. On the double one, again, when I turn it on, it comes on, the light is on. When I turn it off, the light goes off. All right, that was a pretty easy DIY video for you guys. If you guys found it helpful, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends. That's what helps the algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the DIY content that I'm putting out. Apart from that, another job, easy, and you guys can definitely do this yourself. The switch, I think it cost me like 30 bucks or 35 bucks, but again, for the price that you're going to pay a technician to come in and do it, you can definitely do it yourself. It's not that complicated. It'll probably take you, an hour if you're doing it slowly. But if you are pretty handy, you can knock this thing out in no time. All right, guys, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video.